What's going on, guys? Vulkan here, and today we're talking Outriders Worldslayer. So I was able to get in on a hands-on event for content creators from the awesome folks at People Can Fly, NJ Live, and Square Enix. Big shout out to all of them. They're just fantastic people to work with. Having worked with them in the past, it's always just a real stand-up professional experience, so big kudos to them. But this hands-on experience was really awesome. It let me experience the first hour of the new story. It let me get in and check out the new progression systems, new gear to chase after, new leveling experience that I'll talk about here in a minute. There's so much stuff that's packed into this one, and I didn't even get to see the new end game yet, which I'm pretty excited for. We know it's called Trials. We know they're going to have a little bit more about it in the future, but for now, all we know is it's called Trials. Hopefully it's procedural and it's not handcrafted. That would just be like top notch. But we'll have to wait and see. So for those of you who are a little bit out of the loop, let me catch you up. So what is Worldslayer? So Worldslayer is a new expansion coming to Outriders. So it's new DLC. It is a paid for DLC as well. I'm not sure on the price yet. I don't know if it's going to be $20 or $40. I highly doubt it's going to go any higher than that if it does. But for now, just know it's a paid for DLC. And it continues our story on Enoch. So the story starts, we're dropped into the middle of this recon mission. We're looking for some data about the anomaly, and we got some bad news. The anomaly is growing, the storm is becoming stronger, and that most likely is going to wipe out all life on Enoch, and it's very sad. So not so great to hear, and that's essentially where it stops. We do go through, we got to fight a boss, we got to kind of uncover a new area, a new village, so pretty cool stuff, but I'm not going to spoil that for you. I'm just going to show some gameplay in the background and talk about some of the new progression systems and other features that are going to be coming with this, because I feel like those are more important and they're going to be something that's going to make or break this for you. So the big thing I want to talk about are the progression systems, right? This was kind of like the big marquee thing for this whole hands-on event. They wanted to add some more longevity to Outriders, which I would agree. The longevity was pretty lackluster in the first one just because, yeah, there was a loot chase, but the places that you were chasing that loot in expeditions weren't fun. It was 15 maps, they're handcrafted maps, so once you played them a couple times, it got very stale very fast. Now they did drop the whole speedrun aspect of it, and they went more for like a challenging style of run, which is great. I think that's a step in the right direction, but at the same time, it still wasn't enough to pull players back in. So let's talk about these progression systems, right? These are really exciting. So the first one I want to talk about is called the Ascension System, and this one really reminds me of Diablo 3's Paragon system. So once you hit level cap, your experience bar flips into an ascension bar, basically. So as you gain experience, your ascension bar will fill up. And as you level up, you're going to be given an ascension point. And this ascension point can then be spent on different stat increases. Things like weapon damage, anomaly damage, health, leech, status damage, all of these different things. So whatever is important to your build, you can continue investing into it to make your build even better. Or let's say you have this whole like glass cannon build, but you want a little bit more survivability, then you can start dropping points into survivability nodes. And this is really cool. There's 200 total points, so you can get up to Ascension level 200, and it just helps give some extra incentive for those players who stick around for the long term. And I really like this. It worked really well in Diablo, and I felt like I was rewarded every time I leveled up. And the nice thing here is that you can reset this whenever you want. So you don't feel like you have to make this huge monumental decision, or if you put something somewhere you didn't want it, then it's gone forever and you can't get it back. That's not the case, because Outriders values your time, which I really like. You can go through, you can reset all of these, and then put those points wherever you would like to. So again, the Ascension system is pretty slick. Now the next system I want to talk about is one of the most impactful systems they added, and that's the Pax Class Trees. So we have another kind of specialization style class tree, and I am all for it. So we will get 2 additional trees. Every class will get 2 additional trees, and these trees will help kind of flesh out your play style and give you some maybe alternatives to your build. They were really cool. So I played the Technomancer because that's my main, because that's just what type of person I am, right? I'm going toxic bullets because it's, you know, I like to play on easy mode. But this one was really cool. So my Pax trees were the Desolator and the Overseer. So the Desolator gave me huge increases to status effects and played very well with firepower and toxic damage. And it was incredibly powerful. I didn't get to really kind of invest a whole bunch into it and see how it truly worked once it was all filled in. But just going through some of those nodes, I was like, whoa, that's going to be really cool to build around. Now, the other one, like I mentioned, was Overseer. This one is basically the ultimate team healer and support character. So if you're someone who likes to play with a couple other buddies and you like to be the healer or the support, this is going to help you a ton. You're going to be constantly buffing those around you. You're going to be able to lift them up when they go down. And there's just a whole lot of really cool stuff in here. And I think, again, it's one of those kind of play styles you couldn't really do back when it was speedrun only. But now that they're focusing more on difficulty and you need somebody that's going to be able to buff up the rest of the party, Overseer is going to be really cool to invest into. Now, these Pax points are going to be given throughout the story. So as you play through the new Worldslayer story, you're going to be given these points. And then the remaining points will be found in endgame, in the trials. Now, there are only 5 points in total, which doesn't seem like a lot. It's like 5, wow, okay, ooh, break the bank, you know, too many. But the whole thing is these nodes are pretty powerful. So every time you like slot one or you unlock a node, it's going to be impactful. It's going to be gameplay altering rather than just a minor increase, like increasing your firepower by 3% or something like that. You're going to actually have some big stuff. So the developers really wanted to kind of keep things, you know, checks and balances, right? Keep things in order. But the cool thing is you can reset these at any time. So you don't have to feel like, again, you're making these big decisions and these big commitments. Instead, you're like, I want to play Overseer and I want to support my friends and be a team player. Okay, so I'm going to put all my points in there. Well, now I'm by myself and I'm playing solo. So now I want to take all of those out of Overseer and put them into Desolator. So all of these things can be, they're very flexible and they can be adjusted at any time. And you don't have to use them all in the same tree either. So you can spend 3 points in one tree, 2 points in another, or vice versa. It's really up to you and how you want to spend those points. Now, like I said, when I was able to play through it, they were impactful. I was able to unlock, I think, 1 or 2. So that did come with the territory. But I mean, being able to add like a 15% weapon damage whenever you activate a decay or a gadget skill is really, really powerful. So super nice. Now, the last system I was able to check out in terms of progression systems was called Apocalypse Tiers. Now, Apocalypse Tiers are going to be replacing Challenge Tiers, and they're going to scale all the way up to 40, and these are going to give you a better chance at finding legendary items while also increasing the difficulty of whatever content you're doing. So, the best part, these are retroactive as well. So they're going to affect anything in Outriders. So if you're going through the story, if you're going through endgame, if you're doing anything and everything, Apocalypse Tiers will be there and they'll be able to reward you with better drops. So cool stuff there. So that's it for progression systems, right? We have the 3 big ones. We got the Ascension System, which is basically Paragon from Diablo. We have the Pax System, which is 2 additional skill trees that are going to really influence your character, your build, your playstyle, all of that. And then lastly, we have the Apocalypse Tiers, which are going to reward you and increase difficulty of whatever content you're playing. But that is not it. So that's just it for the progression systems, but we also have a ton of new stuff. So a thing that I always say, right, is if a game comes out with an update, but they don't add anything new, then it's not really worth it, right? You have to have the carrot and you have to have the stick. You can't add new stuff with old rewards because people that already have them or have all the stuff they want, they're going to have no reason to play through the old stuff. If you add new rewards to the old stuff is stale and it's not exciting, so players aren't really going to spend a lot of time playing. They might grind through it, but it's not going to be enjoyable. So you have to have both. So here we have new content, and we also have new rewards. So we have both the carrot and the stick, which is fantastic. Worldslayer is going to be adding 2 new 5-piece legendary sets for each class. So 10 new pieces of legendary set gear for each class. Then we have 4 generic legendary sets that any class can use, which is going to be good. And then we have 4 legendary helmets that any class can use, and a ton of new legendary weapons to chase after. So all in all, there is a ton of new legendary stuff that we're going to be seeing, which is really good because right now, you know, there's some people that I talk to that can name every single legendary and the mods that come with them. And that's just, they played a lot. So they understand how those things work and they've seen everything. So being able to introduce new stuff for those players as well as returning players is going to be something that is going to be really I mean, eye-catching, and it's going to pull people back into the game, which I think is going to work out really well for them. And speaking of weapons, they actually added a new weapon variant, and these are really cool. They're called Apocalypse Gear. Now, obviously, you can see the similarity between Apocalypse Tears and Apocalypse Gear, and you're right, you know, good guess. These do go hand in hand. So as you unlock Apocalypse Tier 1, start at the beginning, you'll have a chance to get Apocalypse Gear drops. And that goes all the way up. So the higher you go in the Apocalypse tiers, the higher a chance you'll get Apocalypse Gear. So what is Apocalypse Gear? So Apocalypse Gear can come on legendary or epic rarities, and this adds a third mod slot. So instead of 1 and 2, you'll have a third one that kind of shows down at the bottom. It's an extra one. It cannot be modified, so whatever it is, it's stuck that way. But if you do salvage that weapon, you will get that third mod. So it does add to like your crafting catalog. So then you can take that and add it to another weapon or another item if you would like. But this can affect everything. It's not just weapons. It can come on gear and armor. It can come on weapons. So this is really cool too. So as I went through and I beat a boss, 2 Apocalypse pieces of gear dropped. I had some armor and I had a weapon. And while I didn't get to use them because it was the last boss in the demo, it was still a cool thing to see and allow us to kind of see what those things look like. So these have a different kind of texture to them. They have an extended tooltip or extended kind of window. So you're looking at the weapon plus the mods plus the stats and all of that stuff, and you're going to immediately recognize that it's a piece of Apocalypse Gear. And these are going to be really cool because you can build around them, and really kind of adds an extra layer to min-maxing, to finding that perfect thing for you to use for your build. So again, I really like this, and I think that it just adds another level of customization. And there was a pretty funny story the developers told us too. They said that this looks like it'd be really simple, right? Oh, just add an extra mod to the bottom. That works really well in English, but they said some languages, it was very tough to not have the tooltip go off the screen or anything like that because their words were so much longer than English words. So they're kind of explaining how that worked and how they were trying to figure that problem out. So it was just a really cool experience overall. But that kind of is it, guys, for my hands-on preview of Outriders Worldslayer. So I really feel good about the future of the game. I do feel like things are trending in the right direction. And while we don't know a lot about the new end-game systems quite yet, the progression systems in loot are enough to pull me back in to try it for a few hours. And I'm sure they're going to be more than enough to pull other people back in, especially those who really want to play Outriders but didn't have an excuse to actually install it and play it. I think this one is going to really, really help. So guys, if you're interested, Outriders Worldslayer is coming this year. More info will be coming from the developers as well. Thank you all so much for all of the love, the support, and it's been great. It's beyond what you guys can imagine. It's just been fantastic. So if you're interested in other looter shooters, action RPGs, or anything like that, feel free to check out some of the other videos on the channel. Thank you all so much. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you next time.
Sound off, one and all, everybody.